Alrighty, we're pleased to have on today from Regina, Saskatchewan, a well-decorated golf Sask amateur player. He has played on numerous Wellington Cup teams, has won a lot of Sask events, and is a top-notch fitter for the game. Pleased to have on today, Ken Rogers.
Good morning.
So, Ken, we have talked a lot about your golf, fitting. You've been to Nationals a lot. This is a long time. We tried getting you on early in the season, but didn't work out. But now we have you here. So first off, how are things with you? What's going on? What's new?
Just kind of finishing up busiest golf season on record as far as business goes. It's what an incredible year. We ended up kind of almost like with a perfect storm of people available to golf. Golf courses were in great shape. We had great weather, and restrictions kind of got eased enough that people were able to get on the golf course and bought record amounts of golf clubs, golf balls, etc. So it's a fantastic year. I'm just kind of catching my breath, and we're already planning for next year.
So, would you say from obviously, I guess the COVID year, and then let's just go 5 years prior, has business picked up? Just I don't know what the word is, like just crazy amount, obviously.
Yeah, I think the number one is you just take a look at rounds of golf being played, and most of the golf courses I've dealt with in the last, I've been on the road for several weeks here, and just talking to each golf course, they're all setting records for most rounds ever played for the most part. Some of them like a Holiday Park or some of these golf courses that have always been busy can't get much busier because you just can't get many more people on the golf course. But many golf courses that have been traditionally around 20 or 22,000 rounds a year, they're all up into the 25, 30, 32,000 rounds a year, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then so that instantly translates to, more business, more shop sales, more lost golf balls, it just all transfers through.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, Ken, I want to chat, get right into it here. At what age did you pick up the game? I knew that you were a Royal Regina alumni, starting out there as a youngster. Walk us through, growing up in Regina and, playing your golf at the club there. And obviously where did the passion come from?
Royal Regina was awesome. I cut my teeth there. It's just a wonderful place. I have such fond memories of the Royal Regina. My first couple rounds actually that I ever played were on the Craig golf course, or where the Cali Curling Club is, and sand greens. And so just went out with a couple buddies there and a couple old clubs, and we just bashed it around there. And then I think that was maybe when I was 8, 9 years old kind of thing. And then my dad would take me out. I had caddy for him on the weekends at the Royal Regina, get my milkshake at the turn and maybe a plate of fries after the round, and get to look for golf balls down the tracks when we played 12, 13, 14 and 12, 13, 14. And that was my big reward for the day, but really enjoyed it. And he had a great group of friends that he played with, and they had a lot of fun. They respected the game. And so I learned a lot about golf and etiquette and stuff from those guys as I was growing up. So that was early years, and then just got into the junior golf programs and stuff at the Royal Regina. Could never beat a buddy of mine named Mike Carey, who was a great player back in the day, was shooting in the 70s when we were early teens, and I couldn't play that well. and so anyway, so then just kind of kept playing and kept at it, and played a lot of golf in the early years, even considered becoming a golf pro when I was kind of like late teens, 19, 20 years old. And that didn't work out, but I got into the retail sporting goods business, and then in a very, very roundabout way, ended up kind of into the golf business eventually.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I say in this pod, I think I want to say I've played a lot of courses in this province, and I've planned to play all of them at one point. But the Craig is a course I never got to play, and it's one of the finest dog parks now, I think, in the city of Regina now. But
that was actually the dog park was actually the favorite hole, because you would tee off by the Cali Curling Club up on top of the hill, and it was, even for kids our age, it was a drivable par 4 because you could drive it down into the dog park, and it was like, I don't know, it was only like 240 yards or something. Yeah. It was all downhill, so we had a chance of getting home in one on a par 4. So that was the exciting moment every round of at the Craig.
So Ken, I want to talk about when you were younger playing as a junior. When was your first event, and did you have success on your first go around?
No, not at all. Like I was okay. Like I played okay, and I was probably early years, like late teens. I would have been kind of like a I don't know, like a mid, like a 4 or 5 or 6 handicap. I don't even remember keeping handicaps back then. Like I don't know what I was. I knew I shot in the 70s pretty regularly, and so I played in some junior tournaments, but not a lot of success. There was a lot of really good players back in the day, like. I remember Randy Vogt and Scott Staley and Tim Tate and guys like this that have moved on in the golf business. Tim's out at I think Marine Drive in Vancouver, and just a lot of good players and seasoned players. There was some really good players out of Swift Current, and so yeah, like I was okay, but it seemed like the northern guys were better quality golfers at that point, like more developed and maybe more competition too that they played against each other. We didn't. There wasn't a lot of junior events in Regina other than just sort of the home club events. And then you would just sort of go play the Sask Junior once a year kind of thing. And so no, kind of just limited success at those. Would finish maybe top 20 or something, but nothing special. Pretty average.
So, well, then let's talk now because I have a ton of notes here and I want to bring them up. I want to jump to the amateur golf scene, and your resume is quite loaded, as I mentioned. But going back to the year I was born, I'm sorry not to age you, Ken, but in 1995, you made the Willingdon Cup team.
Yeah.
You finished first in team trials. Walk us through that experience. Walk us through the Willingdon Cup. I love these stories. Obviously, we had Brownie on to talk about this stuff, and I find it pretty cool. So, walk us through.
And so Brownie was a big part of that story too, right? So we had a great time together and really got to know each other and kind of bonded from there on. But we actually have to walk back like a few weeks or even a month or two, and so I'd just taken over. I just started selling TaylorMade at the time, and so I was a TaylorMade rep for 8 years, and so I was making a few sales calls, and I actually stopped into Scott Knapp's office one day, another guy in the Hall of Fame, and just snapper, just an amazing player and guy, and I always had this hump to get over for playing tournaments. Like it was just I'd get into I'd play a tournament, I'd shoot 80 the first round or 83 or something, and then just kind of be too far back to kind of do anything. So I would started talking to Napper one morning in his office. We closed the door, and I just said, Napper, I need your advice. How do you do it? Like, how do you get into these? How do you prepare yourself for these tournaments and stuff? And so he said, like, I'm waiting for this. Like, oh yeah, you need to work on your short putting. You need to, make everything 6 feet and under, or you got to work the ball both ways, or like, I wasn't sure what he was going to say. Yeah. And he looks at me, he goes, Kenny, you got to trust your swing. I go, what? That's all you got for me?
I thought I was.
Yeah. So anyways, it didn't really sink in at that point, but I remembered it. And playing the first round in Prince Albert Cook Municipal that year in 95, I same start, like bogey the first hole, bogey the second hole, parred the third, bogey the fourth, bogey the fifth. I'm 4 over after 5, and
oh boy,
there's a drivable 6th hole. Yeah, and so I pull out driver and trying to hit it hard, hit it in the right bush, and I go, oh my god, like I'm just dying here, and pull out a provisional, and I hit the provisional, and Brian Bamford goes, nice swing. And it just clicked, like, nice swing, like, just Napper, trust your swing, like just swing like you just don't care. Yeah. And so like I think I found my ball, I took an unplayable, made bogey on that hole. So now I'm 5 over after 6. Yeah. And I think I finished the round 5 over. And then I came back the next few days and shot like 70, 71, 72 or something. There's 2 more rounds. So just like 70, 71 or something. Okay. Made the cut, like barely made the cut to get to Saskatoon. And just kept that trusting my swing thing. Like just swinging, like I hit it. I'm a kind of a draw guy, as most people know. Like I just aim it down the right rough and it comes back to the fairway most of the time. And so I just started doing that and just not caring as much. And those words of Napper's just kept with me, and I just kept swinging that way, and just got to the Willows for the 3 next rounds. I used to play consecutive weekends, 3 rounds apiece, and that second last day or the middle day, it was horrible weather, and Brownie and I both shot like I think he shot 70 and I thought I shot 69, and we lapped the field. Like we went from kind of back in the pack to first and second in the standings. And then just the final round, we just kind of had to maintain our standing just by shooting kind of something in the mid to low 70s. And we did. And so we ended up on the team, and we've been buddies ever since. so that kind of started it, and then it just kind of, the floodgates kind of opened. Like I just started playing better golf, and like I say, just not worrying as much about it and not caring, just I don't know, trusting.
Well, that's leads to my next question, because you went on quite the tear for a number of years after that. And, you made Willing Cup teams again in 2000 and the Mid-Am team. So walk us through that stretch you had from 95 to 2008, because you had some success, and you said you found your swing, and, you're hitting the high draw coming in nice and neat, but you had some success. So whatever that 30-second conversation you had with Napper about finding your swing, and then the player saying, "Hey, nice swing," and then obviously you went on to do, you won, and you started seeing some success. So walk us through that, little stretch you had there.
Well, I think like one thing I did about learning how to play tournament golf is that you don't win with great shots, you win with good shots. And so like I tend to play a fairly conservative game. Like it's fairways and greens, and a lot of times I'll play away from flags. Like I won't pin hunt every time. And quite often, so I'll kind of have 30-foot putts on every green and 2-putt my way to 72 or 73 a lot of days. I'm probably never going to shoot 61 like Brownie or those kind of scores. I don't hit it far enough. And so I just kind of try and aim for the middle of the green a lot of the time. And if I get in wedge distance, certainly I'm shooting at a flag, but I tend to try and stay away from trouble. And that's served me well. Like I know I've kind of looked back on some of my tournaments over the years, and a lot of those tournaments, I didn't have a double bogey in the entire tournament. And so that's I look back on all the other scorecards, and there's a lot of double squares on those scorecards. And that was the difference. Like, it's just like, I made as many probably bogeys as anybody, but I just stayed away from those big numbers, and then just kind of started off with a few birdies here and there, and usually would turn out pretty decent. And you don't have to shoot 66 in these tournaments. You like a lot. Well, maybe you do now against Roman Timmerman or Rick Hallberg, but
you gotta go low now.
Back then you didn't. Like even par was always a good score, and it still is for that matter. But certainly there was there's a lot of good scores going on. But that just playing smart golf really helped me over the years, and just kind of learning how to play tournament golf, but just not letting tournament golf kind of play me. You know what I mean? Like it kind of gets in your mind a little bit, and people take it too seriously, or they get to the putting green 3 hours before the event and just grind away and just kind of lose focus, I think.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. So, Ken, your most recent victory in 2019, the Sask Senior Championship, how good did that one feel to win yet again?
Well, it was so being at the Royal Regina was absolutely fantastic. My dad was a member there for 50 years. And so I grew up playing there. He played a lot of time there. My wife played there. My mom played there. My kids played there for a little bit. So it was, it's just so cool. And just, there's so many friends around that golf course that are still there. You see even some of the old guys, and a lot of guys that I've played competitive golf against are still there. And there's a really good group of guys there. It's really, it's exciting to see where the Royal has taken itself. It was always kind of a bit of a I don't know, like I think it suffered from budget and stuff over the years, and soil conditions and drainage and different things like that. And they've done so much with that golf course over the years. It was a pleasure to play. It's a lot stronger golf course to play now than when I was growing up. Those par threes are amazing now. It's stretched out holes like 17. It's a true par five now, and so there's just a lot of really good holes out there. So I enjoy playing there. I do. There's a lot of playing there that's familiar to me. So it's just like, it's an easier golf course for me to play and not get too stressed about, because I just kind of know my lines and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's still, the trees are 50, 60 feet tall now, when they used to be like, 10, 15 feet tall. You could hit it offline before, like those the trees around the corner off the tee shot on number 5 were never an issue when I was growing up. Like you just hit it straight over the corner and just it would run through the dry driving range and end up somewhere in play on the other side. So no, it was really spectacular. My wife caddied for me. Had a lot of friends and family watching, and it was a tense playoff with Brent Watipka, and he battled hard and putted like a demon all day and just stayed in there. So it was a lot of fun and a lot of just very rewarding to come out of it.
Absolutely. Okay, so here's the thing that I've never done, and the more and more I get older now, I think I'm going to go still to nationals, but I haven't been yet. Okay. You've been 13, maybe more times. Walk us through those experiences. I'm sure you have some good stories with the boys. Walk us through maybe your best finish, and like I said, best maybe some good stories there.
Yeah, well, it's first of all, it's I think Saskatchewan players are getting better at playing nationals. It's not easy. It's a whole new ball game as far as pressure goes. You're playing off different types of turf. You're putting on different surfaces that we've never played on. We don't play on around here a lot, and so it really is difficult to go play off a fairway that's been cut with a greensmower. We normally see as the triplex greensmowers, and you're hitting off these tight lies, and the turf is soft, and we're used to kind of the ball sitting up, quarter or a half inch off these just natural little teed up lies all the time. And like, honestly, the very first amateur I went to in 95 with Brownie, like I was hoping to get into the first cut of rough. Like that was more comfortable for me to actually hit the ball, really? Because I just wasn't. Yeah, you get on the fairway, I ended up back in my stance trying to kind of trap the ball just to not hit it fat or blade it. Like it was just it was pretty stressful. And so didn't play great, but it was an awesome experience. Got to play at Toronto Golf Club, which is a very historic golf club, and hosted Canadian Opens and stuff. And so really opened my eyes and just kind of, it was a great start. And then just was able to, fortunate enough to get on other teams and play around the country and play right from Victoria to the Maritimes and Quebec and Ontario and Manitoba and Alberta, like just awesome courses and awesome people. And I think probably what I remember more about the events is more the people. Like I've played okay. I've made the cut at a bunch of seniors and played pretty well. But it's the guys you room with and you kind of live and die with when you're on playing those events. There's a lot of sad stories of guys that were close and had a bad hole or whatever, and just the bonds you make with those guys over the years just stay. And so when you see them time after time at events, whether it be Colin Coben or Marty Ring or just all the Brad Phelps, like all those guys are just Ty Wright. Like there's such good guys that you just kind of you reminisce about those different events and it's the people. Like the golf courses are amazing, and we get to play some great golf courses, get to meet some great players from around the country and even around North America, because there was a lot of these seniors. There's a big perk for U.S. guys coming up to play in the Canadian Senior, because they get a spot in the U.S. Senior amateur if they win the Canadian Senior amateur. So there'd be 25 guys from the US coming up, and those guys they're not professional, but they're close to professional. They play events every weekend and are well seasoned, and they play the Georgia Senior and the Florida Senior and the Southwest Senior, and they play a million tournaments. So to be able to play alongside those guys, probably usually not beat them, but to see their games and how they manage their way around the golf course is really, really cool. So, but overall, the overall experience of the seniors is fantastic. Just like seeing different parts of the country. But I think the bonds made with all the guys over the years is the biggest thing I remember.
Yeah, that's. I hope I can get there one day still. God, that stuff sounds cool.
Don't try harder, try less, and just let it happen. And
just have some fun.
Have some fun.
What? Who was a guy or girl that you looked up to when you were playing? Maybe even your best golf, but like I said, you got into the game at a young age. But when you started really having some success, who was a guy that you looked up to and said, "Hey, this is probably your mentor?
Well, so first of all, my dad would be my totally my mentor. He was just he was played a lot, loved golf, absolutely his passion, and I don't know. Whenever we were partners playing in a match at the Royal, we'd always lose because he'd play bad. But whenever I was playing against him in a match, he'd always put the lights out and always win money off me. So first, like, he was my number one mentor. But, beyond that, like, there's guys like, I look up to somebody like Doug Mader, who's a longtime member at the Royal.
Right.
Back in his day, like, Doug was a great athlete, great ball player, great golfer, made a million teams, great long iron player, and driver of the ball. So I looked to somebody like Doug Mader, who really just kind of just was a real father figure on the golf course for me, like just that competitive guy. Doug and I won the Saskatchewan Amateur Team Championship,
right,
at the Riverside one year, and that was a big step forward for me too, to play alongside Doug and just the way he handled himself on the golf course. And he's a scientist. He was like before DeChambeau and guys like that. Like, Doug figured the game out. Like, he was truly, looking at all aspects, and would it be a guy that would know about spin and launch and stuff like that. So yeah, Doug would be a guy. Like, Kirk McGregor would be another guy at the Royal that I truly look up to, and because he's just his demeanor is just, you can't get a nicer guy that just you want to play golf with or whatever. And so Kirk is another guy like that. Colin Coben. Back in my early years of playing, before I started seeing success, and when I was playing a few amateurs and stuff, and Colin was always up there. I didn't really know Colin real well, but once I started playing golf with him and against him, just found out how good a guy he is, and that you can cheer for your opponent and still want to beat them really bad. It's just when he's one of those guys that just, whether he beats you or you beat him, you have a beer after, and you talk about good stories, and he's a great guy. So just there's just so many good people. Like, this list is too long to mention, and everybody has an effect on you, whether you call them a mentor or not. But everybody you play golf with, you learn from, whether you don't want to do some things that they do, or you want to copy what they do. I think it's every time you put it in the ground with somebody, like you see things that you want to do and things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
I want to hit 320 yards like Brownie too, but I can't do that. But it's there's some things you're just not able to do physically, but at least I'm not. But it's just every time you play with somebody, you learn. So absolutely.
Okay, so you're still playing here, and you've won awards for being a top fitter and selling sticks. We all know KR's a selling guru. I knew that you worked with TaylorMade for a while back. Was it the TaylorMade 300 launch? Does that sound right? The 300?
Yep. 300 series.
Look at that, eh?
Nice.
All up here. How long you been selling clubs for? But also another two-parter is talk about the top 100 golf. Is it Score Golf, I believe?
Yep.
I was talking to DT the other day, and I find that stuff pretty cool. So walk us through when you got into selling clubs, and then the top 100.
Well, selling golf equipment has been really kind of, it's sort of like, I always wanted to get into the golf business. Didn't know I was going to get into it that way. Like I mentioned, I thought about being an assistant pro back in the day, back in my late teens, and actually sent out a few applications, and this was in kind of late summer, early fall. And as it turned out that, courses weren't really hiring some no name from Regina at that time. They might've taken a look at me come spring just to get a, fourth assistant or something or whatever. But anyway, so I didn't get a job, and I wasn't going back to school that fall. So I decided to get a job, and I got a job with Marathon Sports in Regina, a long time sporting goods store in the Northgate Mall. And a couple of really good guys I worked for there that would just, they mentored me too. Like, there's, Rob Pine and Frank Memrick, just two really good guys that I was able to work for, and did that for 10 years. But in those 10 years, kind of started playing some amateur golf, but also got to know a bunch of reps, and I did all the buying for Marathon Sports the last 5 years I was working for them. So I got to know all the traveling reps, and decided that was something I really like to do. So my first rep job was actually selling Daewoo hockey skates and mining boots for this company out of Montreal, and moving to Edmonton to do it. But The great part was that there was still Gretzky had just moved away from Edmonton, so I didn't get to call on him, but there was other players playing on the Oilers that I got, right into the locker room and servicing those guys and fitting them up with skates every year and that kind of stuff. And yeah, that was very cool. And then I was selling boots as well. And so doing that, I started dabbling in just some no-name kind of accessory golf brands and stuff and started selling that. And then was able to move back to Regina and started working with TaylorMade in '94. And that's when the burner bubble came out. And and so that was huge. And just things skyrocketed there. It was carrying other brands as well. But TaylorMade was a great company to work for. They're a great marketing company and great with technology and coming up with new products. And so they were a fun company to work with. There was a lot of growth going on. And so that was exciting. And then Adidas bought them. And so there was more excitement there. And then just things they kind of changed a little bit of their employment package. And so things weren't quite as lucrative as they were. And so I decided to change directions and actually started working for a company, actually for myself, and just selling Ashworth and Sun Ice apparel and Adams golf equipment, TNT golf equipment, and did that for a few years. And then just this Titleist job came along for only Saskatchewan. And I had been traveling right through to Manitoba and Northwestern Ontario for 15 years. And it just with a family and everything else going on, it was just tough to do. And so the Titleist job was just Saskatchewan. Great company, great sales reps who I know, many of them even before I started working for them. They several of them had serviced Saskatchewan, Manitoba over the years, and then moved on to other territories. And so all good friends of mine. So it was an easy transition to go work for them. So I've been with the rest is history. 15 years with Titleist and loving it. Great company, great atmosphere. And just look after their people very well, and make great products, and all of it. So much of it centered around the golf ball would make a great golf ball and do so well there. But the clubs and FootJoy apparel and shoes and everything else that we do are just a lot of first in class products. So it's like I say, great company to work for, and just exciting to do. And it's a lifelong dream for many reps is to work for a company like Titleist.
Absolutely. Okay. And
so your second question is score golf. Do you have any follow up on Titleist or TaylorMade or? No,
that was perfect and well said. I do want to talk about score golf though. Yeah.
Score golf's really cool. So Kenny Morrow, the executive director of the PGA of Saskatchewan, suggested to me a few years ago that this might be something I'd be interested in, because what was happening with golf in Saskatchewan, or the score golf ratings across Canada, is that their ratings are only as good as having raters play the golf courses. And so what was happening is like a great golf course like Riverside fell out of the top 100, one of the years. And so Cam Forrester at the time asked them, well, how did we fall out of the top 100? And the reason being was that just not enough raters had come to play the golf course. Most of the raters are based out of Quebec and Ontario, BC or Alberta or whatever. And so they didn't get enough ratings. And so they fell off the chart where they deserve to be. Like they're totally a top 100 golf course in Canada. And so Cam Forrester found out the criteria of what it takes to be a rater, and so suggested to Ken Morrow that maybe he could be a rater. And so Ken went through the process of getting signed up and going through the whole process and became, I guess, first. Greg Ducard is also a rater in Saskatchewan as well, from formerly West Canada. Anyway, so long story short, Ken says that it'd be something good for me to do. I play golf courses all across Canada. I know golf. I know I don't claim to know a lot about golf architecture. I know what I like and I know what I don't like. I know what's fair and what's not fair. And but I also really appreciate golf courses and their natural settings, and whether it be a golf course like Riverside or North Battleford Golf and Country Club or Deer Valley or Long Creek, or there's just so many good golf courses in beautiful settings across the province that they're all gems, and they all have just wonderful just wonderful features to them that they're all worth playing. And
and they're all different.
So just too. Oh God, yeah. Like, I mean, I hear so many good things about places like Willow Bunch and places like that. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to get down there, but but awesome places. And like you, I'd like to play them all eventually.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's tough. And so maybe in retirement, we'll do a little tour. We'll touch them all. Kind of like, I think a couple of years ago, Blair Lothian has played all of them apparently. So just that's a really cool badge to have for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is a question, and it's going to be there's funny parts to it. And it's up to you to answer. But talking about, how like there was Golf USA, there was Nevada Bob's, there's Lonnie's, all these smaller golf markets, and then what was the change like going to the big chains of golf towns? And, like, did that have a huge effect on what you do personally, selling to, was it wholesale?
Yeah, for sure. With those smaller independent off-course stores, they mostly did all their buying locally. And so your relationship with those owners was important and determined kind of how much product you would get in the shop for sure. Golf Town, they're a great retailer, and they do a lot of things really, really well. But the buying process is kind of out of my hands.
Yeah.
So what they determine out of head office is what comes into the stores, and whether that's the selection of product or the amount of product, the volume of product, or whatever, that's out of my hands. So it's a little tougher that way. But they're all good. Like the independent off courses, like the classic guys like Fred Shannon or Lonnie Anderson, days gone by, I think they were characters. And I still deal with Lonnie at Flowing Springs, like just a great guy and businessmen and wheeler dealers. And so it was always fun dealing with those guys. Not always easy dealing with Fred, but it was always a challenge. And when you walked out of there with an order sheet, you felt pretty good because Fred was a tough guy to deal with. But no, they were great. And so same with Golf USA. Rennie up at Golf USA was a good businessman and did a lot of great things. And so they certainly help the golf business. I mean, in the sense that, they carry a lot of products that just the normal golf shop, pro shop doesn't carry, whether it be, cart covers or art or iron cover, like all the different things that are involved in golf aren't necessarily just clubs and golf balls and gloves kind of thing. Right. So
for sure.
So they provided a service for sure. And in a lot of cases, they just created a conversation where people would go in and check them out, and then they'd head back to their golf pro and say, can you match so-and-so's price? And the game was on. So, but that was, they were, it's different for sure between the old off course and the new off course, but still the same. Like, I think the good, the strong retailers at golf courses, guys who know their business and know their account base, their customer base, I should say, they do well. They're good business people, and they look after customer service wise. They look after their customers very well. And if they don't, then that's the risk that happens, is that those guys may go to Golf Town or golf or online or wherever. So
the funny part of this question is there may be like I said, a story or two about a guy in Thunder Bay. And he always said,
how do you know about him?
How do I know about that? I do my homework, Ken. All right. I can't give away my sources, but I need you to.
Yeah, well, that's
story
DK, so.
About the hey Kenny. You must have a story or two from this guy down in Thunder Bay.
Well, like if you the story was, if you haven't been chased out of Thunder Bay by Brian Madge, you're not truly a golf rep, because it was scary guy to deal with. He was an off-course retailer in Thunder Bay, and he just he was the kind of guy that you didn't know what you're going to get whenever you walked into a store. You didn't know if he was going to be happy to see you or chase you with a golf club. And he had the ability to buy lots of golf clubs, but sometimes you just felt like it wasn't worth it, because you'd kind of be holding the phone out here when he'd call you, and or if he did call you, if you had lucky enough to have call display, you would just not answer. and then wait 24 hours, let him cool down. Cause usually he wasn't calling you to say hello and how are you doing? Like it was like, give you shit about something. And sorry, can't say that.
No, you're good.
Anyway, so he was a strange one for sure, and could buy lots of products, but it was also sometimes it wasn't worth the risk of dealing with him too much. But
can you give us an impression of the "Hey Kenny"?
No, that's Daryl's impression. That's not mine. Ask him about that. Get him on your show.
He did do it yesterday. I was almost in tears, so I had to bring it up today. All right, we had a few more here, and then we'll go to our segment, questions from the gallery. But some of the best places you got to play, whether it be with Team SASK event or general just travel wise. Yeah.
Well, first of all, just courses around Saskatchewan. Like there's so many awesome golf courses around Saskatchewan, first and foremost. I think places like Dakota Dunes don't get enough credit. North Battleford, Nipawin, all the northern courses, even if the courses aren't in great shape, they're just great places to be. Everybody knows that I'm a big bird watcher. Most people know that. So if I'm playing bad or playing good, I can still just stand back and listen and look for a few birds, and it makes my day. So, but no, I think first, look close by first for good golf courses. We have so many good ones here that they're all worth playing. They're great values. Like people don't know how expensive golf is in some of these other cities, and they really need to kind of know that our golf here is a great value, and it's a great product too. Like they would be right up there with a lot of top golf courses across the country. I think of Victoria Golf Club. What a treat to play Victoria Golf Club. Shaughnessy in Vancouver. Edmonton, Jasper and Kananaskis are two of my top end ones there. I've played several of the country clubs, but in Alberta, but those more like 30, 35 years ago, back when I lived there. And I don't remember them as much detail wise. It does stick in my mind some of the courses I played in, Toronto and Montreal, like Royal Montreal, Laval-sur-le-Lac, Mississauga Golf Club, Hamilton Golf Club, Toronto Golf Club. Just wonderful, wonderful facilities and people, and a real challenge. Like some of them are, Kanawaki Golf Course, just outside of Montreal. It's a 6,000 yard golf course, much like Waskesiu is, and par 70. And you think, well, I'm just going to eat it up. And you go there and it's like, I'm shooting 78, 79. It's like, what's just happened? Like, the greens are tough, and you get just a little bit of in the rough, and you can't stop the ball on the greens, and they just add up, and the birdies aren't easy, and a lot of courses like Victoria Golf Club or a lot of the Southern Ontario golf courses, you don't get any roll. So typically here we hit, I fly the ball about 245, 250, and I get usually get like an extra 20, 25 yards of roll out of that. Yeah. Out there, you're getting like maybe 5 yards of roll. So the golf courses play a lot longer out there. And so where else? St. Andrews by the Sea, Algonquin Golf Resort golf course. Beautiful track. And then down in the States, I played Pinehurst. Pinehurst is one of my favorites. Played there, been there for several company sales meetings, whether it would be with FootJoy or Titleist, or for Ashworth. We went there as well for a sales meeting. And so just awesome place to play. Torrey Pines in California. Where else? I don't know. Just some really cool places. What's that?
Making me jealous here, all the places you've been.
But we've always been Ojai, California was another great golf course that we played, and so there's great golf courses everywhere. But again, I'll go back to that. We have a lot of great golf courses in Saskatchewan, and play here first, because there's so many of them just don't get the praise they deserve. They're really good golf courses.
Alrighty, off to our segment now called Questions from the Gallery, sponsored by Molson Coors. Meet New Vizzy Hard Seltzer with 100 calories per 355 milliliters. This variety pack has something for everyone to enjoy, including pineapple mango, blueberry pomegranate, strawberry kiwi, and black cherry lime flavors. They're great. Everyone trying today, Molson, but please drive and drink responsibly all times. All right, Ken. Low round.
A couple 65s.
Where?
Waskesiu and Chinook in Swift Current.
Nice. Okay, right back on the spot here now. Right on the spot. Favorite track in Saskatchewan?
I can't put a favorite track in Saskatchewan. That's not fair because like I say, there's so many good ones. I think the most complete. I think one of the most complete facilities is Riverside. Like there's such a good golf course. Their long-term planning is so good. Like everything they do and decide to do is right. Like it's well thought out. Even if their golf course wasn't very good, just the view you deal with every day there, just looking out into the Saskatchewan River Valley. It's a beautiful setting. Worst part about Riverside is they have limited flight range balls on their range. That's the worst thing I can say about the Riverside. That's just a cheap shot. It's a fantastic place. It's awesome. But no, like I love playing everywhere and they're all different reasons. Like I love playing the Royal, and Royals, wouldn't be probably rated the number one or maybe even the top 3 or 4 golf courses in the province, but I love it. And so it's got a special place in my heart that I just love playing there. Love playing up at Waskesiu and Elk Ridge. Like that's we used to go there every summer for summer holidays. So there's just that, just playing there brings back those memories, but it's also just, again, love seeing the elk. And I was up at Waskesiu and Elk Ridge last week and saw a black wolf. Like it was like, it's just such a cool place. Yeah. Like, that so cool. It's it's a wonderful place up there. And of course I haven't played Nippon for a few years, but I remember it being a very strong golf course and always good shape, and North Battleford again. Like there's so many good ones. Like I just, I can't say I'm going to stick on number one there. I just have a lot of favorites for a lot of different reasons.
Fair enough. All right. Favorite beverage after a round?
Well, it's usually a pint. It's usually some sort of a craft beer. But I also, depending on the day, time, quite often a Coors Light and Clam would be a very favorite choice as well. So,
good answer.
But everybody knows I like to sample the local IPAs and whatever has the fanciest can too. So just it's different every time. So and after a win, if I win a golf tournament, there's the traditional rye and Coke. So I always have a rye bomb to celebrate a big win, big tall glass lots ice. And
I'll remember that. For next time you win, I'll buy you one. Rye and Coke.
Okay,
a rye
sounds
bomb.
Good.
All right. How many hole-in-ones do you have?
0.
Well, we have that in common.
Yeah,
we have that in common.
I have hit the flagstick. I've been 1 inch short. I've been 1 inch directly behind. It's unbelievable. I've lipped out, you name it, and I've dunked a million from the fairway.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I can't count how many I've knocked in from the fairway, but I don't know.
Okay.
Scoreless.
Wow. Well, me too. We have that in common on this pod.
Okay.
Ultimate foursome.
Oh my gosh, tough questions. Oh, well, I guess so. Gosh, I think my favorite professional golfer growing up was Tom Watson, and I just loved the way he battled against the elements playing the British Open or the Open Championship, I guess, and so. He was my early hero. I think that's actually a lot of what how he played the game really kind of like I became known as a bit of a mutter to a lot of the guys in tournaments. I would play well in bad weather, and so Tom Watson would be certainly one of them. Next would be or maybe first would be my dad. Like I just played a lot of rounds with him over the years, and so it'd always be good to tip it up one more time with him. Last, gosh, I don't know. It would have to be somebody like Tiger Woods, or like just the best of all, or Jack. Like those two guys. I marvel at what they've accomplished, and so many tour players, they get one win in their career, and that's a really good career, and they win whatever $5 or $10 or $20 million over their career, and that's still a really good career. And to see what those guys have done. in majors and just overall in tournaments. Either one of them would be very, very good. I was looking at Tiger's year of in 2000 and all his majors, his 3 majors, and all his, like, all the other events he won, and his second places and third places and such. I think his worst finish might have been like 20th or something. I don't know, like, unbelievable. So
yeah,
sure, Tiger, a healthy Tiger.
That's a good foursome. Okay, last question here for you, Ken.
Okay.
You know, a piece of advice for a young listener today, whether it's to follow what you've done in your path, whether it's, you know, the golf side of things or the business side of things, you know, just for someone listening right now, you know, what do they got to do? What's just some of your advice?
Get a university degree. University degree opens so many doors. It opens golf doors for you if you want to continue in golf. But it opens other doors as well. And anytime, and you don't have to get a university degree in your ultimate line of work. All the university degree shows a potential employer is that you have the ability to set and reach goals, accomplish goals. So I think that's by far the most important thing. The golf business traditionally isn't a huge, high-paying business, and so, like, you know, growing up and becoming an assistant pro and until you get a head pro job, it's tough to get by on
the grind.
So that's difficult. But if you have a university degree in your back pocket, I think there's always that potential to kind of do something else if you want to. You're not just limited to the golf business, and I think that just opens doors all over the world for you, not just you know, pigeonholing you to the golf business. As far as being a rep goes, I consider myself really lucky and fortunate, and I don't think anybody can actually plan to do what I did. Like it just kind of happened, and I think whether in any business, whether you're selling golf equipment or whatever you do, I think just, you know, hard work and honesty and integrity and that people rise up and end up getting things that and, you know, that they deserve or whatever. But I just, again, lucky, like no different than some PGA Tour players are lucky to kind of, maybe, you know, like a Corey Connors was some of the steps that he followed when his Monday qualifying and winning in a playoff, and a few things that just sort of happened for him to get on the PGA Tour in the first place were just incredible. And you need some lucky breaks along the way. And I think I've had those as well. So you can't plan on being a rep, but you can kind of work towards it by either being in a shop or becoming a fitting tech rep, that kind of thing, and going that direction. But university degree, number one.
Awesome. Ken, I appreciate you coming on today. It's a lot of fun. I'm sure the listeners will enjoy this one. You know, we'll have to do it again, and we'll have to get out for a round of golf this upcoming summer here. I figure it must have been a slow week for guests because you're asking me. I'm just a plumber when it comes to golf. Like I don't hit it very far. I don't putt amazing. I just gotta get my way around a golf course. You got a lot bigger stars to talk to than me. And you find ways to win though. Don't sell yourself short. Okay, Ken, I appreciate it today. Thanks so much. Yeah, dude. Thank you. Appreciate it.